Hello everyone, it's Pastor Ian with PGC. Today we are doing our very first Intergen fellowship video. We're talking about teams. Now, when I was in school, there were some sports where I would always get picked first when we were picking teams. And that was soccer and hockey, because everybody knew that those were my sports. Everybody knew that I was good at soccer, I played defense, and everybody knew that I was good at hockey because I had a wicked wrist shot, and everybody knew those are the sports you got to pick Ian first or second in. But there were other sports where I just totally sucked. Now, I was never good at basketball. Still am not good at basketball. But I was worse when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I was short. I was the shortest kid in my class, if you can believe it. Because, now I'm really, really tall. But puberty is a thing. But I was always the shortest, so nobody ever wanted to pick me for basketball. And with dodgeball, I was really skinny. So nobody ever wanted to pick me, because they thought, well, I have a weak arm, so there's no way I'm actually going to be any good at playing dodgeball. So I always got picked next to last. And I can remember how good it felt to be the first pick. And I can remember how bad it felt to be the last pick. We're going to be looking at the book of Ephesians. And we're going to be looking at the Apostle Paul, who is a servant of Jesus, and he's writing this letter to the church because they didn't have Zoom, they didn't have YouTube, they didn't have email, they didn't have WhatsApp, they didn't have anything other than just writing a letter to somebody and running it over to them. That was it. That was the only way you could communicate. Ask your parents all about it. It was great. So anyways, the Apostle Paul is writing to this church in Ephesus. And we're looking today at Ephesians chapter 1, verses 1 to 14, because here the Apostle Paul actually tells us something important about God, about how God wants you for his team, how God wants you for his family. See, we can sometimes talk about the church as if it's a building, the place that you go to, but the church is not a building, it's people. And what Paul specifically tells us here is that God, before even the creation of the world, before he made everything, he knew you. And he wanted you to be a part of his family. And that can be a good feeling, to know that somebody wanted you to be on their team. Because that's what God wants. God doesn't want us to just be off on by ourselves. He doesn't want us to just be alone. He doesn't want us to be the last people picked. He's saying, look, I have actually selected you to be in my family. The Apostle Paul says that he predestined, before anything else happened, he predestined you to be in his family. That means that God is actually working for you to make it so that way you're not alone, that you're not isolated. Because in this pandemic time, it can be really, really easy for us to just kind of stay in our own space, stay in our own room, basically only coming out for food or, to use the washroom. But you know what? We don't really socialize with people. We don't spend time with our friends. It's really easy to just kind of stay online. And it's hard because sometimes we feel really isolated and we can feel really alone. But that's not what God wanted for us. When he created us, he made us so that way we would want to spend time with other people. And that's why he made, for many reasons, the church. He made the church so that we would not be alone, so that we could have other people who are just like us to be a part of God's family. And what that means, being a part of God's family, is that it means that you are no longer defined by your sin anymore. What it means is that now you get to enjoy all the benefits of being a part of Jesus Christ's family. It means that even if you are not exactly happy today, if you're not exactly on fire, it means that there's somebody who cares about you. It's the great thing about parents. It's that they're thinking about you, caring about you. Even when sometimes it can be a little bit annoying, many times it's because they actually do care about you. And we have a God who loves us enough to send Jesus Christ to die for us, so that we would not be alone, so that we would not be isolated, but that we could be a part of a team, to be a part of God's family. I love team sports because that's the place where I get to build real, lasting relationships with people. When you get to have real friendships, when you get really close to people, and those are the relationships that count, especially as you get older. Do you have a relationship with God where it's more than just going to church on a Sunday, but where you know him and he knows you? We all want to be a part of something. But do you want to be a part of God's family? Because if you do want to be a part of God's family, then all it takes is to say, Lord, I need you in my life. All I need is for your forgiveness. All I need is for you to accept me as a part of your family. That's all it takes. Super easy, right? Now, there are discussion questions that I will have given your parents. So after you've watched this video, go spend time with your family, go spend time with your parents, and let me know how it goes.